meet Said's slippers. They are Under Armour and they come straight from Amazon. Fast delivery, Prime, only 2 days. And they're quite useful. They really are. Now, you might question, your philosophical mind might question, do these slippers have consciousness? Is consciousness in them? Are they aware? Are they conscious? Because you could very well look at yourself and say, I'm conscious, I feel this essence in me, this Brahman, the God force. I can feel it inside of me. It doesn't even take you to eat well or do anything. Everybody feels it. You could go to somebody who's eating McDonald's and just has a matrix-like lifestyle, and they still feel like there's somebody, like there's an essence in there. There's something in there. Okay, as asleep as they may be, it's very easy to look at yourself as a human being and see consciousness in there. And then, either through meditation or good fortune, good karma, or psychedelics, or however, you could begin to see that in trees as well. It's absolutely undeniable that trees have it. Animals, very easy to see also. Everybody can almost see that in their, in their dog, in their cat, just animals in general. Very easy to see in humans, very easy to see in animals. There's an essence there, a spirit, a soul, a being that is living, that is alive, that is vital, that is pure energy. It is pure energy. And then, at some point it becomes rather obvious that also plant life has it. And even our so-called science says that, plants, animals, and humans are living things. Okay? And rarely will you hear me reference science because, it's mostly bullshit. Anyway, Western science. But even that, they seem to have got something right for once. Okay, so, that's very easy to see. Now what about objects? What about these slippers? What about these slippers? Is Brahman in those slippers too? Is there Brahman in there? Is there an essence? Is there a spirit? Is there a soul? Is there an aware being? Is there? Oh, good question. And I've been asking myself that for a long time. Until recently, I listened to a podcast, Voice of Vedanta. I mentioned Vedanta before. If you would like to get the essence of Sanatana Dharma, the essence of Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism and Sikhism, and the essence of life, really, get into Vedanta. Okay? You'll cut through the bullshit. You'll come straight to the answers that you're looking for. Straight into Advaita Vedanta. There is Veda Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is non-dual Vedanta. Veda is dual Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is where you want to concentrate more of your attention. Okay, it's beautiful. So I listened to the podcast and they brought that up. Somebody, because it's a Q&A with Swami Sarva Priya Ananda. Yeah, amazing. I mentioned him before. And he does Q's and A's, and I'm gonna have to get a hold of him, and I have a few questions of my own. So somebody asked him the question, do objects have consciousness? Very nice question. And the thing about Vedanta is they always use examples that stick to you. It's like it lights a light bulb inside of you. That's why metaphors are so powerful. Analogies and metaphors. He says the difference between objects and living things is like having two pots of water. Two pots. Okay? Say we have two pots here. Pot 1, pot 2. Pot 1 has water in it. Pot 2 doesn't have water in it. Just an empty pot. And we have the sun over there. You see? I mean, it's right there. Right there. You can see it shining on me. Okay? Now, pot 1, the water reflects the sun. It reflects it. You could see the reflection of the sun coming off the water. With pot 2, You don't see that because there is no water. And so the essence of that particular metaphor analogy is that with living things, they reflect consciousness. The sun is consciousness, the light, the pure isness, the energy, the awareness. Okay? A living entity reflects consciousness. An object does not, but consciousness is there. So right now, by me perceiving of this slipper, okay, really should have had something better, right, than my slippers. I'm looking at the slipper here. Consciousness is inside of me. I am the sun. I am looking at this. It's in my awareness. I am the sun. I'm looking at the slipper, okay? But the slipper isn't reflecting consciousness. But it's still in the field of awareness of consciousness. Remember, the sun can still see the pot, the other pot, the empty pot that doesn't have water in it. It can still see it. It's in its field of awareness. It's its own creation, if you will. Okay, everything is consciousness. Consciousness creates everything, is creating everything, is perceiving of everything. So consciousness can perceive of the object, of the empty pot, of the slipper, but it does not see its own reflection in it, because it's not there. It's the subtle body. It's not there. It's not within the slipper, within the object. And that's what makes living things different than non-living things, than objects, is that, consciousness is the sun. It's aware of everything. It's aware of objects and non-objects. It's aware of the empty pot. It's aware of the pot with the water. Now the pot with the water reflects the sun back. So when you look at a tree, and then you have a slipper, and I'm looking at a slipper here, and I'm looking at a tree, clearly, one reflects life, has life in it, I could feel it, and one does not. And that's why I can't eat the slipper. Okay, I mean, it'll cause me all kinds of issues. My body can't digest it because I am inside a living thing that reflects consciousness. I am consciousness. But I could eat plants. I could eat animals because there's life in there. Now, of course, you kill an animal, life is there no more. Body has a bazillion times harder of a time to digest it, if it digests it at all. Most of it gets stuck in your intestines. Nevertheless, animals in the wild, when they eat other animals, they eat them raw, like just when they kill them, right away. Okay, so because again, if it's life, that's why we could eat, we could consume it. It gives us life. It takes away life, but it gives us life. Okay, because consciousness is reflected in that bowl. The water reflects it back. So when I look at a tree here, clearly this is a living thing. And it's sentient, and consciousness is inside of it, in it. Another piece of consciousness, just experiencing itself as a tree. Whereas the slipper does not. It does not, but it's still in the field of awareness of consciousness, of that sun. You see? And so that's the difference right there. That's sort of the difference between sentient beings and non-sentient beings. It's a subtle body, okay? It is that subtle body. It is that subtle body that's the life force, okay? The life force. And so when you go to a place like a mountain or something, the life force is incredibly high because it is in everything. It's in all these trees. It's in the water has magnificent life force. It's in the water. It's in the lakes, the waterfalls, the trees. It's everywhere. It's everywhere in a mountain. It's in the clouds. It's in the sky. And it's in the mountains themselves also, right? It's in the because although objects may not necessarily reflect consciousness, but they can store consciousness. That's the thing about objects. So that's why mountains are powerful ways. Maybe the rock itself is an object, but it can take in the sun and store consciousness. I think that's what crystals do also. I got some crystals in here in the back. This is organite, by the way. Yeah, so objects can still, however, store consciousness in there one way or another. Store it. They may not necessarily contain that essence, but they could store it. And mountains have an unbelievable way of storing that sun that is always shining on, remember the pots? Mountains. So you go to a mountain, the life force is unbelievable. The prana, the chi, it's everywhere. It's unbelievable. You go to a beach, you go to any place that has a lot of raw, undiluted nature. Isness, because nature just isness. It is. Just, it is, right? It is. And pretty quickly, you'll get high off that prana because it's sort of in everything. You know, jungles have some of the highest prana because of the trees. The trees are incredibly vital, living things. And I mean, all life right now on the planet is basically plant-based, whether you know it or not. Even if you eat animals, you're eating animals that eat plants. Okay, you're eating animals that eat plants. And if you're eating animals that eat animals, the animals that eat animals, they usually eat animals that eat plants. And then if you're vegan, then you're eating plants. If you're breatharian, you're now beginning to transcend everything. Now you're becoming a badass. So yeah, it's a subtle body. It's the life force, the energy. And you sort of feel it. If you meditate and you contemplate and you calm everything down, you just like feel it in everything. You just look at something, you just sort of energetically get a feeling for it. You know, you just feel it. So that's why being in concrete jungles, you know, it's deadening. It's deadening. It absolutely is deadening. And eating dead flesh, dead foods, is also deadening because there is no life force. It's like this. It's very, actually, here's another good analogy. A person that you know dies. You go to their funeral. You open the casket. You're talking to the person, but they're not responding. You're looking at the person, they're not there anymore. Their life force is left. That awareness has left that body. So now that body once was inhabited with consciousness, but now it isn't. See, the difference between a mountain and a dead body, a dead human body, is a dead human body, that's it. It's gone. It's gone. It just decomposes back into the earth. It doesn't store the consciousness, although it had consciousness in it at some point. But the mountain takes it and stores it. See the difference here? Because now we have two objects. Rocks, mountains, rocks, okay? And then you have a dead human body. But a dead human body is different than a living human body. A dead human body, that's it. There's barely any consciousness in it. I mean, it's already decaying. You see? That's it. Consciousness left it. It's done. The water has been spilled out of the pot. And that pot itself is even disappearing altogether. You see? And so think of the same thing like with food, for example, right? If you eat a dead animal, the life force is already left. What do you get out of it? Decay. It's decaying. It's in a state of decay. It's an object now. You're eating an object, essentially. It's not storing. It's not storing any consciousness because it's decaying. That's the way the biological entity and animal body works. It decays right away when the life force leaves it. You see, so see the difference in there. Yeah. So I just thought I'll share this with you guys. Yeah, that's it. I want to thank all the Patreons for supporting this channel. I know I say it every time in the video, but I mean it every time. 60% of the time, I say thank you. I mean it every time. Okay? So thank you guys. I appreciate your continuing support, and I appreciate all the new Patreons. They're about to get off their ass, grab their credit card, take 5 minutes out of their times and pledge $2. So thank you to all the people who are doing that right now. And if you wanna, the link for the Patreon is in the description. And if you wanna book a one-on-one consultation, talk about anything, slippers and whatnot, you could also do that. The link is in the description. And I love you guys, and until next time, may the force be with you.